Alright, so I have a new redesign for you all today. The female blood ninja of Mortal Kombat. Skarlet's actually a rare ninja that I think I haven't ever drawn in my life. Now that I think about it, I've never drawn a picture of Skarlet before. It's gotta be of a few select ninjas that I think I haven't drawn. Anyways, I'm actually drawing Skarlet as a request coming from all of the female characters that I've drawn recently. I've actually been suggested a couple times, if I'm not mistaken, to doing a design almost for Mortal Kombat 1, seeing what she would look like. Gonna be interesting because the characters from Mortal Kombat 1 look so different from how they've looked in the past, but at the same time, I really like how much like Ninja Skarlet from MK1 I felt was cool, but her design really wasn't anything noteworthy about the way she looked other than the fact that she didn't have any clothes on. But she definitely had a lot more nuance to her design in Mortal Kombat 11. And she was one of the female character designs in Mortal Kombat 11 that I don't think that I really had that much of an issue with. Some Jade skins I thought were cool and some of the Katana ones for the most part, but because a lot of those, they had variations where they were revenants, there's a lot of the designs for Sindel, Jade, and Katana I'm just not a fan of. Cassie's okay, not really sold on Sonya. We're not going to speak of Cetrion and Chronica, but Skarlet I think had a bunch of cool skins and designs in Mortal Kombat 11. I always thought she was a really interesting character, especially the way she looked in MK11. I wish they did more with her actual character than what they did. She's not even really featured in the story all that much. So this is my chance to sort of see what I could do coming up with a design for the character. So let's get to it. Alright, right off the bat, didn't really have a broad idea for a pose for Skarlet, outside of the fact that I kind of just wanted her standing there sort of holding out almost like a ball of blood in her hand. Really gross how much Skarlet's use of blood is in the Mortal Kombat games, to be quite honest, but I mean, it just is what the character is. So, like I said, I knew I was going to have her sort of like holding blood in her hand. This is as far as I thought of with the pose. A lot of her design was kind of on the fly. There wasn't too much of a plan there outside of I knew I wanted her kind of sort of ninja-esque, but I didn't know necessarily how I wanted that to look. I took a gaze at a few sort of previous Skarlet designs and looks online, but there was nothing really concrete in my mind as far as a plan is concerned when I was coming up with her. So going off the cuff, I knew that I was going to give her like a hood. I don't know why hooded designs for the Mortal Kombat ninjas always look cool to me, like a Scorpion or Ermac. Outside of Jade, none of the females really have that. Melina doesn't and Katana does it, and I feel like one for Katana actually would be kind of cool. Even a Melina one, now that I'd say that out loud, would be awesome, but since I've never taken that chance to do one with them, I figured Skarlet would be perfect to actually give a hooded design to. So I was going there with her, and I also wanted to make sure that I left the mask on her as well. I didn't want to draw a faceless Skarlet, so I went with that. As far as her top is concerned, I wanted her outfit to look a lot more like I wanted some aspects of like a traditional ninja costume to be in Skarlet's design. I wasn't going to go with the full-on basically underwear design that Skarlet almost had in Mortal Kombat 9. My initial thought process was to give her sleeves. As I'm drawing this, you could probably see in the video, I get rid of that sleeve design. At least on one arm, I think I leave the sleeve on the other one. Just because to me that looked more interesting than her just having two sleeves. She almost looked too much like a ninja. Looked like a really bland design, so I changed that after a while. But I just added little ropes and stuff like that to hold the places on her costume for like accessories and any type of weapons or stuff that she might have on her outfit. I also like the idea of like sort of bandaged or taped sort of fists or arms and stuff like that. I don't know why that appeals to me. Part of that is just being a professional wrestling fan and watching so many people tape their wrists and whatnot in wrestling. I don't know, I like it in designs. And in recent years, there's a lot more of it in Mortal Kombat designs. So I did that here with Skarlet, but I only did it on one arm. Like I said, I don't know why that sort of imperfection and asymmetry. I don't know why my brain likes that so much, but I ran with it. I also gave her an undershirt in the beginning too. I eventually went away from that as well. I felt like it was too much. But as far as sketching out the design, that was pretty much it. And I gave her like little like armor pieces on certain pieces of her clothing as well. Like I said, it wasn't too much thought going into that. It's just a lot of it's just on the fly, random, does this look good to me type of a thing. And I sort of put it on the design. As usual, when I do a lot of these redesigns that created a bit of a problem, I didn't have the idea of how I was going to color her. The color scheme was going to be obvious. I know she's going to be black and red, but what pieces of her clothing is going to be black and what's going to be red was kind of a question mark for me. And what I soon discovered in the coloring phase of working with Skarlet was I didn't necessarily know where I was going to have the red in her clothing and where I was going to have the black at. So with that not knowing of where I was going to put the reds and the blacks in her designs, I did a lot of flip-flopping. Her costume actually started off with a lot more red than I eventually went with. I don't know why. It might have worked, but I just felt like it was way too much. It looked interesting, but I don't know why it just didn't look cool enough for me to actually run with. Maybe had I shaded it in and then tried it after the fact, it would have looked better, but I won't try to take that chance. So I left her with the sort of black and gray design with a lot of red accents. And then I settled on one of the sleeves actually being red, which added a lot more to her look in my opinion. Being honest, before I continue, I just want to remind everybody, if you like the video, you've enjoyed yourself so far and enjoyed the video, then go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you haven't to the channel. Now getting back to the video, I actually wasn't entirely sold on this design from a coloring standpoint until I actually started shading it. The sort of dark design with the red accents was as good as I thought it was gonna get. But once I actually started shading her face and parts of the outfit going forward, it was starting to piece itself together. I started to get sold on the design a lot more. It's like as I just committed to it and was like, okay, this is good enough, I can move forward, then everything started rolling from there. Especially when I started doing some of the metal pieces on her costume. I don't know why it started making it stand out a lot more. And then also the little sash or whatever in the front of her costume, the red accents on that. I'm glad I decided to do that and not just leave it as one full-on color, because that sort of helped make the design pop a little as well, as opposed to just making it all black or all red like I almost did at the start. So as much as the design started to come together and come alive when I shaded her, and boy did that help out a lot to me. Once I added the highlights in, I felt like I was really onto something. This is now one of my favorite redesigns that I think I've done on the channel so far. I'm putting this in the category of how I feel about my Ermac design and my Jade ones, which are actually two of my favorites that I've done on the channel so far. Specifically that Ermac one. I don't think I've had this much fun doing the design outside of, like I said, that Ermac one, and maybe doing the Dragon Ball redesigns that I think was the first one that I did. This just started coming together so well when I started adding the highlights to it. And to me, it still reads as Skarlet while looking different. So that was pretty much the finished product for the design. Like I said, I wanted a design that still sort of stayed true to Skarlet looking like a ninja and having ninja aspects to her clothes. But I'm personally proud of how this one came out, especially considering it's my very first time ever drawing Skarlet in life. I really like how this one came together. So I'd love to get you guys' feedback on what you think of the design yourselves, whether or not you think this is actually good enough for Skarlet in Mortal Kombat, or whether or not you would think it would fit for Mortal Kombat 1 design at all. As I always say, the feedback is greatly appreciated, and you all have a good one, and I'm out.
Friendship. Skarlet wins. Flawless victory.